All right, you found us here on Arc Salt Lake. Thanks for being with us. I'm Brian Schneed. It's Tuesday, August 26th. Tonight, a crucial update on a Utah's missing case we brought you over the last few months, not once but twice. And in an in-depth look here at flash flood warnings in southern Utah, it's that time again that actually prompted the closure of Zion National Park's iconic Narrows hike and all other slot canyons. Let's talk about it here with meteorologist Chase Thomason, telling us how we went from praying to rain really at this point to now flooding in not just in Zion really, but there were a lot of areas you were keeping an eye on as they're kind of bouncing around those flash flood warnings and alerts depending on just what was moving through. And we had some strong storms and still have some.
Yeah, you had those slot canyons. You have some of those burn scars, of course, that are prone to flash flooding with debris flows with this heavy rainfall. You probably really felt that this is the most monsoon moisture in the atmosphere we had this entire summer season, which is not saying much.
We knew it was coming. It was just a matter of maybe when at this point and how much and how frequent. So,
and we're in monsoon season. Typically it starts in mid-July, goes until mid-September, and we are seeing some much needed rain. And hey, it's a little chilly out there. All right, it's not cold, but compared to where we've been dealing with, it's August at 7 o'clock and we're in the upper 60s and low 70s. The cloud cover and the rain has really cooled the atmosphere. Feels pretty nice out there. We're still dragging a little bit of rain in Ogden, but we're now dry in Salt Lake and in Provo. A little bit of sunshine we're seeing after being a pretty cloudy and gloomy day. Showers that rolled through most of the Wasatch Front is now lifting northward towards Box Elder County and Cache Valley. But again, still a little bit of rain around Ogden. Brigham City, you're next, if it holds together. Tremonton, a little bit of light to moderate rain. Some standing water, though, along I-80 as they head towards Evanston. We're not seeing a whole lot right now in Salt Lake or Utah County, but still a few thunderstorms developing south of Tooele that could be rolling in. Still can't rule out a stray shower, though, through tonight. Also, a few showers and thunderstorms now pushing into northeastern Utah. We've had some heavier rainfall in the Castle Country area of our state. Right now, some heavier rainfall developing just east and south of Duchesne. Scattered showers and thunderstorms out in eastern Utah, where we've had some flash flood warnings, again, near some of those slot canyons. Burn scar area, though, just south and east of Moab with the possible debris flow. That's the Deer Creek burn scar. We have those slot canyons in Garfield and Kane County. Right now, though, the rain is wrapping up, which is good news for that area and across portions of southwestern Utah. We're not done with this monsoon pattern. More rain is possible tomorrow, but what about the holiday weekend? I'll have that answer coming up in just a few more minutes.
All right, Chase, thank you very much. For some, stormy weather sends them packing. For others, the rarity of seeing Zion in the rain brings them in. Heavy rains can be beneficial for our extremely dry weather, but officials warn it can obviously turn quickly and it can be deadly. Utah experts say the risk of flash flooding is high, really, anytime we have rain, especially in those areas that Chase mentioned, those flood-prone areas in southern Utah with our slot canyons and at some of our national parks. The waterfalls are spectacular. We spoke to one of those experts who say ideally visitors are checking the conditions before heading out. We say it all the time. We're really a broken record, but here's someone else talk about it. Listen.
So right now the Narrows is closed, and that's because of the flash flood potential as well as the flash flood warning issued, and all of our slot canyons are closed. So for folks that don't know, Zion has dozens and dozens of slot canyons, including the Narrows. Most of them do require a permit, and we're not issuing those permits currently because of the flash flood risk. Ideally, before you go on that hike, you're checking the National Weather Service website. It would have had that probable rating that I described earlier. I know a lot of our outfitters out in town, we love that they do this. They actually let you know when you're checking out gear, hey, this is the rating for today. I did the Narrows this past weekend, and I actually was supposed to do it Friday, but I moved it to Saturday to go earlier in the day when there was less of a risk of flash flooding. So definitely check the weather for yourself, and then if you're renting gear out in town, you can do that. But say you are in the Narrows and you've done your due diligence, but still you see maybe rain clouds, or maybe you're noticing the water's acting a little weird. So this is a good time to kind of go over the warning signs of a flash flood. So if you're in the Narrows or something similar and you see the water changing color, you're hearing roaring sounds, the water's starting to get frothy, that's a pretty good indication that there may be a flash flood coming. You might also see debris coming down, like wood, driftwood, stuff like that. And really the only thing you can do in that case is get to high ground immediately and wait it out. So if you do find yourself in that situation, just again, get to high ground. Don't attempt to cross the water, whether walking through it or driving through it. A lot of flash flood fatalities actually are in cars. But even 6 inches of water can take you off your feet, which is surprising probably to most people, but flash floods are very powerful.
Well, it's important to know, especially if you plan that trip. Maybe you live in the area and you just want to go for that afternoon hike or cruise through one of those slot canyons. And unfortunately, we've talked to people before who have either been with a party who did not make it or some of those search and rescue volunteers that were on a recovery mission. So for visitors like Sean Green, who has lived near Zion for over a decade, rain brings the canyon to life. He says there are many people with unfamiliar sort of characteristics with what the desert weather is all about, and you shouldn't underestimate the risk.
I literally meet people from all over the world, and one reason they're here is I want to hike the Narrows. I've come all the way from the Netherlands and the Narrows is closed. But from a common sense point of view and a safety point of view, you really need to be aware of the weather.
Since 2010, 11 people have died in flash floods at Zion, most recently in the Narrows just 3 years ago. Officials say if there's any chance of rain, it's best to reschedule slot canyon hikes entirely. Flash floods in Utah often don't originate in the same area where they cause the destruction. That's because what makes them really dangerous is that water moving into those areas where people are. Many places do not have cell reception, and you have to do a little extra homework up ahead, and you have to be prepared. Ed Smith, I spoke to him regarding the Buckskin Gulch incident that happened back in 2023. We tracked Ed down. We spoke at length about the loss of his 2 colleagues and friends that he was with, and their lives were taken in the Buckskin Gulch area due to flash flooding, and a helicopter had to hoist Ed out. It was remarkable video. Here he is.
You'll hear some people talk about a line between being prepared and being paranoid, and there really isn't that line when it comes to hiking or camping, because you don't know what's out there until you actually get out there, and you have to be prepared to be able to address it.
Ed and his friends were trained.
Well, this is one I remember quite well because the video you see there was shared with me by the Kane County Sheriff's Office. Ed and his friends were trained, experienced. They watched the forecast closely. They hiked a lot. They've been in this area. There's that video of one of the hoist operations. The flash flood was too unpredictable. Ed survived, but lost both of his friends in the flood. He says he'll never hike the same way again. So again, I did speak with Ed. This was a number of years ago. I believe this was back in 2023. And it's one of those I remember vividly. It just kind of sticks with you. I can picture the video where we're looking off from a different perspective here of Ed waving his arms, and you can see he's missing a shoe. And it's really, really just stuck with me over the years. But you can watch my interview with Ed and his survival of the Buckskin Gulch flash flood. It is still on our KUTV YouTube page. It's also still on our website. You can go check it out, KUTV.com. Well, unsealed information regarding a homicide investigation out of Tooele County. Salvador Pedraza was reported as missing. Thus, the banner you see here, we reported it as Utah's missing after we learned that he disappeared. He was located deceased weeks later. Now, the timeline here before we move on. June 22nd, reported missing right around there, or June 22nd, vehicle found, reported missing on the 20th, and then he was found, his remains and his body, on July 10th. So a few weeks went by. Court documents were recently unsealed in this case. I uncovered them today. When first responders located Pedraza's vehicle, again the 22nd of June, they came across a man named Jeff walking in the remote area who allegedly told the Wendover assistant fire chief he was walking back to his white Isuzu Rodeo. Then he changed his story to reflect his own white Dodge truck. The Isuzu belonged to Salvador Pedraza. Police say Jeff was actually carrying a jug with him, believed to be vinegar at the time, and he left in a hurry. Fire crews called police, but they lost sight of Jeff, later identified as Jeffrey Goldsboro. Goldsboro has been charged in the murder of Salvador Pedraza, whose body was found, again, July 10th, so it went a few weeks there. Goldsboro lived at a ranch roughly 10 miles from where Pedraza's vehicle was found. You see the remote area all of this took place in these pictures. Charging documents state that Goldsboro bragged to a coworker about carjacking someone so he could get back to Evanston, Wyoming. Why Evanston? It's where his wife lived, according to those documents, which is where he was planning to move back to. Police were able to link the mismatched tread on Goldsboro's Dodge truck to the tire marks found near Pedraza's body in the Lepi Pass area. This is north of I-80 near the Utah-Nevada border. An autopsy actually showed that Pedraza was shot multiple times and multiple guns were used in that shooting. Investigators noted that Goldsboro's cell phone was shut off around the same time that Pedraza disappeared and that he closed out a bank account the day after Pedraza's vehicle was found. Goldsboro is being held without bail and faces a first-degree felony charge for murder, which could result in up to a life in prison at a minimum sentence of 15 years. His initial court appearance was on August 4th, with another hearing scheduled for September 15th. Again, those documents were unsealed. They were held for 30 days because there was a concern that Goldsboro, given his nomadic sort of lifestyle, which was described in the documents, that he would leave the area if they didn't have him in custody, which is why they did not unseal those documents, even the probable cause affidavit shortly thereafter. A lot to unpack there. You can read more at KUTV.com. For continued coverage on Utah's missing cases, join us Wednesdays, 7 p.m. right here, Arc Salt Lake. We are invested in this. We're dedicated in helping Utahns find answers or closure. Like always, you can reach out to me on social media if you have a case you would like us to take a look at. Many of you do that weekly, and I thank you for it. Coming up on Arc Salt Lake, 2 Tremont and Garland police officers will be laid to rest later this week. What the community is doing now to make sure their families are always supported. 7:15, welcome back. This week, the community will remember the fallen Tremont and Garland police officers killed in the line of duty. Tonight, we're finding out how some of those same community members are coming together to support the families of the officers that you see here, Officer Eric Estrada and Sergeant Lee Sorensen. Leslie Duarte spoke to businesses who are raising support and taking donations in hopes to ease the pain where they can.
I just broke down because I'm like, man, like somebody this close, like this is just too surreal.
Van Smith relives the moment he found out his neighbor, Sergeant Officer Lee Sorensen, was killed in the line of duty.
He truly cared about the community. He truly cared about helping those rather than just, you know, throw somebody in jail. He was out to make the community a better place and to give the ultimate sacrifice for that.
Smith is now turning that heartbreak into hope by making and selling shirts in memory of the officers. 100% of the proceeds will go to the families.
So we've sold over 600 shirts physically. There's an online store that people are ordering. I think there's over 100 sold on that.
Smith says it's somewhere around $12,000.
This community, when it comes time to get together, there's some of the best people on earth.
How can people help?
Yeah, jump on, order a shirt. My dream for this was to have a shirt and have everybody wear the same thing, to really show the community ties, to really show that we all are one community in unity.
Smith is not alone. Among many other fundraisers, Michaela Stark, a daughter of a first responder, is pitching in.
Everybody knows everybody here, so it's really hit home a lot harder than most big cities.
On September 13th, Western Billiards will host a fundraiser and raffle event. The proceeds will also go to the officers' families.
We are going to be doing raffle prizes, a pool tournament, a poker tournament. We had someone reach out and ask if they could do a motorcycle ride before, and we have live music happening.
Smith says,
"This is unfortunate, and obviously we wish it didn't happen, but it's been super humbling to watch everybody react the way they have and be as generous and as supportive as they have been."
The t-shirts can also be bought online. You can reach out to Cover Up in Tremonton. And as far as the raffle and fundraising tickets, you can contact Stark. Reporting in Tremonton, Leslie Duarte, KUTV 2 News.
So this week, those two Tremont and Garland police officers killed in the line of duty will be laid to rest. The public viewing for officers Eric Estrada and Sergeant Lee Sorensen will be held Wednesday, which is tomorrow, Bear River High School. Garland from 3 to 7 p.m. The school has actually adjusted their schedule there in Box Elder County over the course of the next 3 days. But again, tomorrow, 3 to 7 at Bear River High School, that is in Garland, just outside of Tremont. There will be several funeral services for the fallen officers. However, they will be each held at the Spectrum at Utah State University in Logan. Services for Officer Estrada Thursday, 10 a.m. and services for Sergeant Sorensen Friday, 10 a.m. We'll have complete coverage of these services. You can see them, hear them, watch them here on 2 News. You can download our mobile app to watch on your phone. We will also stream the services live on our website, KUTV.com. I find out of all of those, the easiest to do is by using our YouTube page, and you can find a lot of the coverage that we've done on this up there as well. Let's get to what's going on right now. That was quick, Chase. We were just talking about this video.
Yeah, we just got this video.
Yeah.
So southeastern Utah, the Deer Creek Fire area in Old LaSalle.
There you go.
Hey, very heavy rainfall, a little small hail. Can be dangerous, though, with those burn scars because you get those debris flows.
And this is obviously more towards the valley area, towards
Right.
the highway for reference.
Sure.
Be interesting to know just how much kind of fell at the higher elevations
Right.
and was working its way down. Fortunately, a lot of those communities, those cabin communities, there's a lot of space between those homes. So
That's good.
Hoping that everything kind of went through,
Yep.
maybe some canyon areas.
And we're getting some rain in some areas that we definitely need some rain, so
Right.
that is good news. So let's get right to it. Here's what you need to know. We didn't pick up a whole lot of rain in Salt Lake, But we're not done. More rain possible tonight and tomorrow, and maybe even on Thursday and Friday as well. So far at the airport, 200s, which makes our August total at 300s, which also makes us having the 5th driest summer on record. We were at number 4, now we're at number 5. So hey, at least it's something. But yeah, it'd be nice to get a whole lot more because June and July were also extremely dry here in Salt Lake. Rain chances tonight about 40%. They go back up to 80% tomorrow. So we could see some decent rain in the morning and maybe in the afternoon as well. But again, it's scattered. Rain chances drop to 50% on Thursday. Definitely a lot lower, though, as we head into the holiday weekend, which is good news if any outdoor plans. So high pressure is hanging out to our southeast. It's been pumping up that monsoon moisture here in Utah from Mexico. A little weak disturbance also passing by, producing that lift that we need for showers and storms. Starting to wind down across southwestern Utah. St. George picked up about 0.2 of an inch of rain today. Flash flood warnings continue across some of those slot canyons down in south central Utah, but the rain has ended about an hour ago. But ongoing flash flooding kind of takes some time because of our geography down those rivers and streams. Heavy rain pushing through Hanksville, and right now the heaviest rain is south of Moab. A few storms possible for northeastern Utah this evening. A little bit more rain developing out just south of Tooele that could be rolling in, but right now most of the Wasatch Front is drying out. And will likely stay dry through late this evening, but just keep your eyes on to the sky because we can't rule out a stray shower here in northern Utah. I think most of it will stay out in eastern Utah, but notice more rain moves in overnight and into tomorrow morning for the Wasatch Front. We could have some light rain for your morning commute, and then by the afternoon, especially if we get a little bit of daylight or a little bit of sunshine, we'll likely see those thunderstorms bubbling up. Won't be widespread, but scattered storms in central and northern Utah. Definitely not as much for our friends towards the southwest. Additional rainfall over the next 24 hours. We could see another 1/10 of an inch to a 1/4 inch of rain. Some areas more, some areas less. Again, it's not widespread. And same thing for northeastern Utah, and not as much towards the southwest. But look at these temperatures. St. George 89, 79 in Cedar City. Lots of 70s for highs in central and in northern Utah. Evanston only at 68 degrees. We had pretty much a elevated risk for flash flooding today at those state and national parks. It's still there for tomorrow. It's a possibility, but that risk is a bit lower. St. George, maybe a few isolated thunderstorms and then drying out Thursday and Friday. Temperatures back into the low 90s, and then we're back to near 100 degrees Sunday and on Labor Day. And I think Labor Day could be our hottest day statewide, but nothing too extreme. 78 degrees tomorrow in Salt Lake. That is well below normal. And we're still in the low 80s Thursday and Friday. Not as many showers and storms. Mostly sunny over the weekend with highs in the 80s. And then for Salt Lake on Labor Day, temperature of 90 degrees.
What did we miss? Two famous people got engaged today.